16. Just look at that number for a second. It might not seem that big, but what you're actually looking at is, well, it's pretty terrifying. This is the number of times a complete tragedy was avoided by a hair's breadth. 16 heart-stopping moments all in just 44 days that could have gone horribly wrong. But here's the thing. These aren't just random anecdotes. Every single one was logged in a dataset. So today, we're not just looking at a statistic. Nope, we're going to go on an investigation. We're going to follow the clues and piece together the story that's hiding inside one city's traffic data.
All right, let's get right into it. Our investigation is focused on a set of near-miss incidents from Thiruvananthapuram, a city in Kerala, India. We're about to crack open this data of danger and see exactly what it can tell us.
So first question in any good investigation, where? You got to know the location, right? To really understand what's going on, we have to map it out. Where are these close calls happening over and over again? Well, the data has a very clear answer. And whoa, would you look at that? It's not even close. Out of those 16 incidents, a massive 9 of them, that's more than half, took place on highways. City roads are a distant second with 5. This tells us right off the bat that highways are the primary stage for these incredibly risky moments. So what is it about highways that makes them so dangerous? Well, it's kind of like a recipe for disaster. You've got high-speed moves, like risky overtaking and people cutting across lanes. Then you mix in complicated road designs, like sharp S-curves and tricky merges. You can see how each of those things just dials up the danger level.
Now, city roads, that's a whole different kind of chaos, isn't it? It's less about the super high speeds and more about just complexity. You've got tons of traffic, narrow roads, and you often can't see what's coming. It's like a pressure cooker where drivers have to make these split-second decisions, and, well, sometimes they're the wrong ones.
Okay, so we've got the where. The next obvious question for our investigation is who? Which types of vehicles are right in the middle of these near misses? And the answer here is startlingly clear. I mean, just look. Motorcycles and scooters were involved in 9 of these incidents. Auto rickshaws, 7. You put those two together and they are, by a huge margin, the main players in creating these dangerous situations. But what's really interesting is that they create danger in totally different ways. For our motorcycles and scooters, it's often about aggressive speed, just flying down lanes, making risky passes. For auto rickshaws, it's more about chaos, squeezing through impossible gaps, pulling sudden U-turns out of nowhere. You've got 2 different styles of reckless driving, but they both lead to the same scary outcome.
So we know where it's happening, and we know who's involved. Now we get to the final and maybe most important piece of the puzzle, the how. What specific actions are turning a totally normal drive into a potential catastrophe?
The data shows 4 really clear patterns of behavior. First, we see dangerous overtaking and trying to squeeze through tiny gaps, again and again. Second, sudden or illegal lane changes. Third, drivers just totally misjudging how to handle a complex road. And then there's this last one. And honestly, it's pretty chilling. Signs of intentionally aggressive, maybe even targeted, driving.
To really get how real this is, just listen to this. This is a direct quote from one of the incident reports. Someone on a 2-wheeler passed another vehicle with only 1-inch clearance. 1 inch. Think about that. That's the razor-thin margin between getting home safe and a life-changing accident. And somehow, it gets even more intense. Here's another description, where a driver realized they were in a targeted, coordinated pursuit. I mean, this is so far beyond a simple mistake or a bad judgment call. This is full-on road rage. This is turning a daily commute into a hostile confrontation. So let's connect all the dots now. We've looked at the where, the who, and the how. And when you put all of these clues together, a really clear and frankly predictable pattern of risk starts to emerge. So here's the big takeaway. A near miss isn't just random, it actually has a recipe. Think of it like this. You start with a dangerous location, like a busy highway. Then you add a high-risk vehicle, like a scooter or an auto rickshaw. And for the final ingredient, you mix in one hazardous maneuver, like a sudden overtake. You combine those 3 things, and danger becomes almost inevitable.
And that all leads to one final, really unsettling thought. This entire analysis, everything we just talked about, it's all based on just 16 incidents, logged by one person. Over just 44 days, that's an incredibly tiny snapshot. So it really makes you wonder, if this is the pattern we can see in the few close calls we know about, What else is happening out there on our roads every single day that nobody ever sees?